Welcome to today's review, where we will be taking a look at several different spin-off Sonic titles: Sonic Eraser, Sega Sonic Bros, and lastly, Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car. While from the outset it might seem that all these games cannot be anything better than mediocre, you'd be surprised. Granted, the former sentiment holds true for some of them. We might as well not beat around the bush with this first one. Sonic Eraser is terrible, and it is time that we look at the reasons in favor of such an opinion. To start off, Sonic Eraser has no plot. Sure, it is a simple arcade puzzle game like Tetris, and not every puzzle game needs a plot, but Sonic Eraser, with the way that it was presented, seemed perfect for a plot to be included, especially with the whole storybook theme going on. And Sonic puzzle games, such as the Mean Bean Machine, do feature plots, even if they are not very prominent. One can make the argument that the game lacks a plotline due to it being a game that was made for the short-lived Sega MegaNet online service. But a decent plotline would have certainly given this game more substance. And one thing that this game needs a whole lot more of is substance, which brings us to the next few points. The visuals of this game are lacking, just like everything else. For the main game, you have just these two Sonic sprites that sit in the middle, occasionally attacking one another with very sluggish animations. There are only a few motions that Sonic ever portrays, which is standing, dizzy, attacking, or being attacked. And how about the blocks themselves that you're forced to awkwardly stack up? They look very generic and generally unappealing. The lack of detail in the sprites does not help whatsoever. And if anyone says that the sprites could not look any better because it was the Sega Genesis, they are lying to you straight through their teeth. Columns on the Genesis is evidence enough that the blocks could be given more detail and made more attractive. The frame of the game screen itself is not all that bad, and the background of the grid spaces is a bit unique with its pseudo 3D shading effect. The time and game mode are clearly displayed as well, but while this stuff is decent, it is in no way great. Because of the generic theming, the game feels incredibly lifeless and lacking in personality. The visuals are never pushed to create a unique look to where someone can look at the game and say, "Oh hey, that's Sonic Eraser," without having a Sonic sitting there on the screen. Not to mention that the generic metallic computer theming of the main game contrasts terribly with the medieval storybook theme of the menu screens. What about the gameplay itself? Simply put, it plays like a more restrictive and cumbersome version of Tetris, and instead of clearing rows, you simply just clear 2 blocks at a time. But the number of blocks that you clear is not a problem. What is a problem is that you cannot rotate the blocks that you were given. Instead, you can press buttons on your controller to try and rearrange the blocks in the existing preset rotation. This becomes exceptionally problematic when you're trying to rearrange the shapes within a given block quick enough while it falls. And usually, since the pieces switch spots within the boundaries of the shape so sporadically, it becomes far too easy to mess up a drop. This becomes exacerbated because there are no animations of the tiles changing, so oftentimes you will change the position of shapes without realizing it until it's too late. In order to win, you just have to lock your opponent's screen out in a similar manner to Tetris and other versus puzzle games. But there is no real fanfare for winning or reward. There's no dedicated result screen like Tetris Attack or a traditional Sonic game. Then, there is an extremely limited variety in gameplay since the game modes are next to none. There is a round mode which starts each stage with pieces in the player's grid already. Among the pre-placed pieces, there are several spinning green pieces which must also be destroyed to finish the stage. Then there is a normal mode, which is just your standard, game gets faster until you screw up. Doubt mode has the player working with pieces that will randomly have white blocks show up after being placed. And block mode is just normal mode with a tad more combo potential since blocks will fall out of order until the player makes a match. In addition to versus mode, all the other modes have both single player and 2-player options. Granted, it does not add much gameplay wise. In the versus mode, players can attack one another, making 3 pair or more clear combos. Attacking your opponent causes them to lose control of their pieces for a short period of time. Unfortunately, this gameplay mechanic is extremely unbalanced due to the nature of the dizzy sabotage element. Essentially, once you make your opponent dizzy, you can take control of their blocks and force them to drop in a certain area of the grid. This means that you can technically win a match by forcing poor block drops in your opponent's field. Since the attacker was able to trigger an attack, it is most likely they are already winning since triggering an attack requires a fair number of sequence clears. Considering that they are winning, this means that their grid has more spare room. Ultimately, this insinuates that one player could simply dominate if they're good enough at getting first strike combos, and then forcing bad drops on their opponent's grid, essentially becoming the puzzle version of Super Smash Bros.'s infamous Kirby side tactic. Not only does the attacked player lose control, but they have their field directly taken over by the opposing player. This is awful game design. And we cannot talk about Sonic Eraser without talking about its music or its questionable box art origins. The music of this game is downright dog shit. It is incredibly grating on the ears and rivals Sonic Spinball's option menu music for being one of the worst songs that can be heard on the Sega Genesis. Not to mention that the soundtrack is barely existent. The menu's instruction screens have no music, and the main theme is a horrendous composition that sounds like someone slapped their hands on a bunch of keys and force-fed it through a synth chip. Just take a listen for yourself. Yeah, it is not pleasant. And speaking of unpleasant things, there is the box art, which I am almost 100% sure is not an official piece of box art. This looks like a poor man's DeviantArt attempt at constructing a cover piece for this understandably abandoned game. We have the head of Adventure-era Sonic awkwardly slapped over a vectorized in-game screenshot with atrociously clashing fonts. I would argue that this originated somewhere online on a forum board and is someone's attempt at making box art for a game that no one wants to play. So, by this point, you might be wondering, wow, well it sounds like this game is a lost cause. Are there any good Sonic puzzle games out there? And the answer to that would be yes, there is. Sort of. Enter Sega Sonic Bros, a decent attempt at an arcade puzzle game for the Sonic franchise that feels more unique than the Mean Bean Machine. Namely because it is not simply a localized clone of Puyo Puyo. Instead, it tries something a little different. Rather than different shaped blocks like in Tetris or Sonic Eraser, players are given square blocks that have a randomized organization of multicolored hedgehogs, with the blue one being Sonic of course. I'm inclined to believe that the red hedgehog went on to become Mighty the Armadillo and the yellow one went on to become Brave the Flying Squirrel in Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. With both Bros and Hedgehog having Sega Sonic in the title, I can only assume that Sega Sonic the Hedgehog pulled elements from Sega Sonic Bros. Not to mention that both were arcade titles, but enough rambling about evolved content conjecture. So, what sets Sega Sonic Bros apart from Sonic Eraser? Well, for starters, the art of Sega Sonic Bros is far more in line with the Sonic franchise and has a well-detailed Sonic aesthetic. It takes notes from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on the Genesis and has many similar assets to it. The only assets that I could tell that were pulled straight from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 were the palm trees on the title screen and some of the grid themes, but even those got a change in colors, which better fits the more vibrant yet relaxed style of Sega Sonic Bros. This game is honestly very chill despite being a puzzle arcade game. Even the music is relaxing and upbeat, or at least some of it is, and speaking of the music, it is actually not half bad. In fact, this is a game in which Sonic 3 and Knuckles' Blue Sapphire theme originated, and unlike Sonic Eraser, the gameplay is enjoyable. As I mentioned before, you get these blocks of 4 hedgehogs. You can rotate the hedgehogs within the blocks, and unlike Sonic Eraser, there is an actual animation for when you move the hedgehogs within the blocks. No more do you have to strain your eyes and be constantly on the edge of confusion wondering if you swap pieces around correctly like in Sonic Eraser. Instead, the brightly colored hedgehogs just rotate from one spot to the next at the press of a button, and you know exactly where your hedgehogs will be set once the block is placed. And instead of just matching up 2 of the same shapes, Sega Sonic Bros has a player creating lines and loops within the grids to clear lines of hedgehogs and score points. But what is even better is that the object of the game is to eliminate as many pieces from the player's grid at once as possible, insinuating that Sega Sonic Bros encourages players to score wild combo chains. The bigger the combo chain, the more the player's score will be multiplied. Once a player manages to clear their grid, a bonus will be awarded which also multiplies the player's score. Needless to say, there's plenty of ways to earn points. What makes this all better is that for every 10 levels that the player climbs, they will be awarded a Chaos Emerald, which is essentially a giant field blast. Once the Chaos Emerald is placed into the grid, everything above and on the same lines as it will be evaporated. This is especially useful at the higher levels when you might need a Mercy reset. In addition to a Chaos Emerald being awarded to the player every 10 levels, the level theme also changes. It starts with Green Hill Zone, then goes through to Scrap Brain, and ends things off with both backgrounds of Sonic the Hedgehog 1's special stage backgrounds, which gives the game a strong sense of visual diversity unlike Sonic Eraser. Everything that Sonic Eraser does, Sega Sonic Bros does about 20 times better. From the music, to the art, to the gameplay, it has an advantage over Eraser in every way. Sonic Eraser does nothing more than employ several conventions that were already established by other games of this genre. Meanwhile, Sega Sonic Bros tries to do something new with the genre and make its gameplay have a unique identity. For instance, once the player reaches level 30, a 4th hedgehog color is introduced into the mix. This is a natural way to increase the intensity of gameplay while also encouraging the player to evolve their strategy. Not to mention that it opens more avenues for greater combos since more colors are at play now on the field. The only thing that Sonic Eraser ever attempted to do was follow a cardboard cutout formula of matching symbols together as they drop into a well. To make it worse, its pieces don't rotate. The objective of SEGA Sonic Bros is a lot more distinct, and the player knows when they accomplish something. Once the player reaches the maximum score or reaches level 99, a proper high score table will be displayed. One feature that SEGA Sonic Bros has that Sonic Eraser should have had is the ability to compete for daily high scores. Being a game that was introduced with an online service, it would have been great to see Sonic Eraser have a daily leaderboard mode. But alas, that was not included. Again, SEGA Sonic Bros doing something right, while Sonic Eraser fails. The Versus mode in SEGA Sonic Bros is also much more enjoyable than Sonic Eraser, since it features a race mode and survival mode that do not feature gimmicky and ultimately broken attack features that give one player an arguably unfair advantage over the other. And if a player is good enough at SEGA Sonic Bros, they can pull off some extraordinary combos that will allow them to complete a game session in a matter of minutes due to the high returns on cleanup bonuses. For all these reasons and more, SEGA Sonic Bros stands as a better Sonic puzzle game and one that can be enjoyed even in the modern landscape of games. And finally, is Sonic Waku Waku Patrol Car, an arcade game ride that never came to the West. There's one thing that should be said right off the bat. This game is charming, and this game has potential. Yes, I know, a little kitty ride game has potential, but hear me out. While the gameplay consists of the player simply navigating traffic and jumping at Dr. Eggman to hit him a few times, it is solid. I understand that screwing up something so simple is highly unlikely, but it just feels good to play this game. The controls are responsive, the hitbox on Eggman is fair and square, and the visuals rival that of the Sega Genesis better titles. And the charm. Oh, the charm. This must be one of the best characterizations of Sonic in the classic days. He's friendly, yet cool and sharp. He shows care for his animal friends, and it brings a smile to my face every time I see him mentioning them as I cross the street. The gameplay is also solid enough to become more than just a short tech demo, which we will touch on in another video. As for the music, it's good. For what is there, it's good. Sure, the soundtrack is extremely limited, but it features more music than Sonic Eraser, and both songs that are featured are cozy and relaxing variants of the Green Hill Zone theme. So, now that we have touched base on each game with a review, let's look at what the final verdict is. To start the scoring is Sonic Eraser. Sound, 0 out of 10 for destroying the ears of the player. Music, 1 out of 10 for trying, but still destroying the ears of the player. Visuals, 3 out of 10 for being passable, yet extremely generic. Gameplay, 2 out of 10 for trying some mechanics out, but failing at executing them right. World and story, 0 out of 10 for there being no story nor setting. Next up is SEGA Sonic Bros. Sound, 7 out of 10, nothing too special, but easy on the ears and some sounds can be nice. Music, 8 out of 10, strong compositions that match the vibes of Sonic's world. Visuals, 8 out of 10 for being pleasing to the eye and matching the world of Sonic. Gameplay, 9 out of 10, strong gameplay elements that mesh well together and give the player options. World and story, 8 out of 10 for making the setting of the game South Island and having great level transitions. And finally is Sonic Waku Waku Patrol Car. Sound, 8 out of 10, the sounds are lively and exciting as an arcade game should be. Music, 7 out of 10, while there are only 2 music tracks, they both sound terrific. Visuals, 9 out of 10, the visuals are well structured and managed to make a city road feel like it's from Sonic's world. Gameplay, 7 out of 10. There's not much in terms of gameplay, but it is a very solid basis for a gameplay type that can easily be explored further. World and story, 9 out of 10. While the story is simple, the world is very well put together and really makes the player feel like they're in a small city or town in Sonic's world. In the end, we have Sonic Eraser coming in at a measly 1.2 out of 10, SEGA Sonic Bros coming at a strong 8 out of 10, and Sonic Waku Waku Patrol Car coming in at a shiny 8 out of 10. Sonic Eraser is just a clunky tech demo that feels like it was tossed together in the matter of minutes with nothing other than the sprite of Sonic himself having to do with Sonic the Hedgehog. SEGA Sonic Bros is a strong puzzle arcade game that challenges the player to stay invested and pull off sick combos, while Sonic Waku Waku Patrol Car is a relaxing ride down the road with plenty of potential. If you enjoyed this review and like to see more, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Thank you for watching, and we will be back to review more media another time.
ソニックパトカー発進